I actually heard on a different podcast, a coach mentioned the idea of taking a picture of like the banner or a trophy or something to motivate the team. And so I asked everyone in the gym before they left to take a picture of the conference championship banner in our gym and put it as their screensaver or background of their phone. And so that way every day they had that in the back of their mind that that's what they were working towards. And I think that was something we did early on that helped build that, start to build the culture.
I love that. A couple of things I hear in there is number one, you talked obviously about positive touch, connection, coming together, talked about the power of building relationships, and then also just having everyone shoot for the same goal, right? Everyone was rowing together, so to speak. And so with that, when you're building that vision, did you have any pushback or challenges when you first started out?
I would say that we didn't have too many challenges as a coaching staff, um, but it was more about teaching and educating them on what a championship culture looked like and evaluating some of the behaviors that they had done the previous year that I believed were kind of led to a negative or losing culture. And we identified those and we met in one-on-one meetings or as a group with the returning five seniors and talked about what we collectively wanted the season to look like. And so I think there was just a little bit of growing pain of like a teammate falling over and maybe two guys that had played JV for me like knew to sprint over and help them up, but the some of the returning guys like maybe a few steps too slow. So we continue to praise those types of behaviors, and they got really into it, and they were like, started. They got from a point a few months into the season where they would kind of like fight each other to be the person, one of the two people to help up their teammate up off the ground, and it definitely took a lot of attention and energy to get them to get to that point, but I think it was well worth it, and they were willing to buy into it.
I love that. And so let's go into those principles, those behaviors. And I know we probably talked about it on our last podcast, but if you want the honest truth, I bet most of the listeners, including even some of myself, have forgot what some of those principles are. I know you're big on helping them up, but what are some of those other principles and championship habits and behaviors that your team implemented?
Yeah, I really enjoyed talking about it, and I'm gonna give a shout out to Tammy Matheny, who's also a two-time guest and the one that connected us. She's amazing,
Yeah.
and she was talking about the Olympics, and it was really validating as someone who preaches culture that a lot of what was happening in the Olympics, in terms of the way they treated each other and cared for each other and the energy they brought. You would see that just by watching the team that won the gold. So some of the things that I really value, I think, are the bench, like the bench energy, and are they engaged and locked in? I think in the semifinal or final of the Olympic game, LeBron had an and one, and you could see Anthony Edwards and Halliburton and Joel Embiid, all guys that they compete against during their NBA season, all just pumped up and like really excited for him. So we talk about the bench and how their energy either influences the team up or brings them down. And so that's one that we talk about. I did mention the huddles, but I think the huddles are like a mini timeout in a game. So if your team gets fouled on a shooting foul, um, or you foul the other team, just huddling up, putting our arms around each other, and communicating a message, I think is really important. And I would say one more that I would like to share is called point to the passer. And Dean Smith from North Carolina, the head coach, really emphasized that. I think he may have started it, and it's just like Coach Furtado, if you gave me a great pass and I score, opposed to me running down the court like pointing at myself like I'm so good, I can point to you and say good pass, and that way you feel valued for your contribution, and it shows that I appreciate that. And if you do that more times than not, your team will start to like get excited about all those teamwork moments.
Got you. So we got number one that you didn't touch on right there, but we already touched on before is help them up, right? Really encouraging teammates to help their athletes up, right? When they get knocked down, which happens a lot in the sport of basketball, and it can happen, I'm sure, in quite a few different sports. Bench energy is a big one. I love that one. That's a great one. It's a great one because it gets everyone engaged and involved. In number three, talk about huddles, right? Quick little huddles, right? real quick, hey, make sure you guard number 12. He's hot from three, right? Super, super easy opportunities. Or, hey, you got next shot, right? Easy opportunities to create communication. And then last one, I love point to the passer. We do that at our BTG camp sometimes. If you when we're doing our 2-on-2, 3-on-3, if you get a nice pass, we don't always do it, but sometimes if you don't thank your passer, boom, I kick you off, and then defense ends up, or two new teams come on. I just little habits. And so when we're talking about those habits, how do you, help build them? And I know you kind of alluded to it, talking about positive celebrations, but I'd love to hear how you make those habits across the duration of a season.
Yeah, I think we really emphasize a coaching staff, and I want to give a lot of credit to our coaches. We had three assistant coaches and one unofficial volunteer that would help out on the weekends, and I was just so blessed to have like a starting five coaching staff, and we all valued culture, and just it really just boils down to like really caring about the success of your teammates and the team as a whole, and not just yourself. And so that means sacrificing sometimes, maybe your shots or your playing time, right? Just whatever the team needs. And it helped that we were winning a lot of games and we beat some teams that we probably shouldn't have beat. And in terms of just the culture piece, we'd watch a lot of film, and I love breaking down like, hey, like, do we see how like when that player got subbed out, you didn't stand up, right? Like, so what message does that send to the team? Or if like, hey, you took a layup, you didn't get the foul call, you complained to the referee, and then you left your teammates down there 5-on-4. And so that's like, a little bit of strategy stuff, but just culture is like just the way we go about our business every day. And so we had a glue guy of the week, which something that I created. And so we just had a piece of paper and it just stated all the things that we thought were important, like keeps the team connected, always positive, leads by example. And so I'd give them the paper. Every Thursday we would do that. And then I have a little glue stick just to symbolize like keeping the team together. So I think that was a little cool one that we would do. And then also something that's debatable in terms of how you lead a team is we didn't have any captains. And I thought that was important because I wanted everybody to be a leader, and everyone has an influence on the team, regardless if you score the most points or you don't play at all. Everyone does have an influence on the environment. And the only type of captain we did was game captain. So whoever worked the hardest that week, they get to meet with the officials and the other team's captains. But I think that really contributed to our team. And we actually have school announcements about end of the season awards like MVP and things like that. There's four of them, and I asked like that to not be announced because we were still in the middle of our New England tournament run, which is like the farthest that you can go, and we were going to. We won our quarterfinal game and lost in our semifinal game, but I asked for that to not be announced just because I thought it could, do more harm than good. Just because we never cared about the awards, we just wanted to try to keep going as far as we could. And one thing I did want to just shout out our team for as well is in that semifinal game in the New England tournament, which is the farthest the team had made it. And definitely, it was 9 years before they had won the last conference championship, but definitely longer than for them making it that far in the New England tournament. And we were down 20, I think 25 points with 9 minutes to go, and at the number 2 seed in Rhode Island. And we came back and cut it to 3 points. And there's no way that happens if we weren't the most connected team, which is what we preached the whole season. So it was really cool to see all of it kind of come together and lead or end in a positive note for sure.
100%. And I want to dive into that in your run in the conference championship game and kind of the story behind it. What does that look like in a game? But before that, I want to kind of make a comment on, I believe I took this from you with captains. I didn't do captains last year either. Game captains, I actually probably might steal it again from you with whoever worked the hardest because I just did it like I think I let every single kid had an opportunity. I had 17 kids on my Frosh soft team. I think almost every single kid, there was one kid who really did not buy in the culture. I don't think I ever let him be a captain, but every other kid got an opportunity to be a captain for a day, go up, talk to the refs, shake hands. And like I would say 17 kids is a lot of kids for a basketball team. Like I think everyone listening knows that only 5 play at a time.